Hi, I'm Linda Clave, and I'm here with my painting exhibit, Sound in Paint. And I have 17 paintings that I did while live performances were going on, either in individual sessions or in a performance at a gallery or a salon. And with me today to talk about my work is Julie O'Neill. And she interviewed me at the last time I had an exhibit with this kind of artwork over at the Outpost. So Julie, nice to have you here today. And I want to, this painting, we'll just start at the beginning of these paintings were done mostly in a square format because I used, like for instance, this particular painting, it was used on a CD for Eric Zinman and Lawrence Cook called Double Action. And it was accepted by Ayla Records and it's on the cover. The other painting above was just one of the paintings that I've done, a number of paintings in the square format in case they ever were used for another CD cover. Then as we travel up the hall, down the hall, this painting, this long one, was the first in a series of paintings I did for transcultural exchange. I had a project that I was working with Mario Rechtern and mostly local musicians as well to have some sort of exchange between Europe and America. And I had made a proposal to do a video and to do performances and a painting exhibit. And this was one of the performances with Lawrence Cook, John Voight, and Eric Zinman. And there's a video to go with this too. You can see it on YouTube. And following that, the same year, it's 2009, Lawrence Cook and Eric Zinman and myself did a Halloween performance at the Outpost. So this is Halloween 1. We did 3 different Halloween times, and I think you can feel if you can get in close enough, and you see that there's this was all about dark magic. I was wearing my witch's hat, and I'm painting and I'm being videoed. Ken Thompson did the video called "It's a Dangerous World," and it's on YouTube. And you see the mystery coming through, the light and the dark. You can feel the fall in this. In all my work, I feel like there's a lot of awareness of the seasons, awareness of the cosmic energies that are available, as well as being aware of the music and the audience. I found that the audience, the feelings that they're projecting, they don't have to say them out loud. I pick them up telepathy-wise. I found with audiences that I would feel the telepathy of the audience. It started when I did the first exchange for transcultural exchange with Mario Rechtern. As I was painting over at Brookline Tai Chi, I was painting blue and he thought, oh, I need sky. And then I was painting blue, but he didn't say anything to me. He's playing his saxophone with the greatest intensity and you would never know that he needed sky, but I felt it.
Well, that's where I want to say, I have witnessed some of the paintings that you've done. And well, at the time that the performance
that's right. You were at Brookline Tai Chi.
Yes, I was at, and so
and
it's
you
so
took pictures.
Interesting,
Yeah.
as an, from the audience perspective.
We videotaped it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Verna videotaped it, and that I believe is on YouTube also. But it's really interesting being an audience because you can see the movement of the paintings with the changes of the rhythms. And you probably are not even aware of that yourself because you're listening, but you're making decisions on what color, and you really pick up the mood. And I think that's what I really appreciate so much, being an audience, participating by taking photographs, but it's really amazing to witness.
And my idea is I'm not copying the music, but the music is in the paint. That's why I call it sound in paint. Because it is my idea that the paint carries the vibration. All water carries vibration. Dr. Emoto proved that, and with all kinds of studies where he showed that you could imprint thought on water and freeze it and then look at the sample and see how the water changed from one state to another. So it's perfectly obvious, and I'm using water-based paints. They can come in, and I also use sand in some of my paintings, and sand is also a transmitter because it picks up energy because of the granules. It's not sand. We think of sand as these little dots, but it's also an element.
Yes.
So, and you know, there's no end to what color does as well. Once you imprint the color vibration, each color has a certain wavelength to it, and each time you're imprinting it also with thought, more vibration levels come out. So I look for multi-vibrational levels. I consider these vibrational paintings, not just paintings to music.
Oh, I understand. I definitely picked that up because of your knowledge and study of esoteric things. The paintings really show that, and in your explanation of that, you can see that.
And then, but also the music is really important because
Yes.
it adds a level of intensity because it frames it in time, and it makes it really now. So this was also a performance, and this was done at Open Sound for different groups were performing, and Eric Zinman and myself did a performance. It's also on YouTube. So this was very time framed. We were allowed to go first so I could do the setup because it takes time to set up your paints and do all that. And I had to paint on an easel, so there's format questions about how big you can be and how much you can fill a space in less than an hour. So I really like this painting because it has a lot of vitality. The color is really juicy, and you can feel the kind of music it is. It's improvisational jazz, and it has a lot of elements of surprise, and it isn't kind of melodic and flowing. It's asking you to wake up and grab the moment.
You can see that with the reds and the yellow and the way, the strokes. I've seen you do that. The brush stroke is pretty amazing too. And that is just an intuitive thing that you know from painting for years. Is that right?
Yeah, then I did a lot of gesture drawings too. I started out doing a project with Margot Simon back in 1986 for an Arts Lottery grant. We did Romanticism, Shoe into Gershwin. And I had no idea how I was going to do this, so I would just do sketches by her piano. So anyway, that gave me that idea of quickly finding a gestural kind of response to what I felt.
Yes, you can
And
definitely
then,
see that.
of course, I had art school and gesture drawings and doing the fast figure. Figure moves, the figure does this, then the figure does that, and you have to find some way to get the essence of that. The faster they move, the less articulate. You're not going to put all the muscles and all the facial features. So, in this one,
what is the name of this?
This one is called Siegecraft. Now that was Eric's title because we did a limited edition of his piano and my artwork, and we gave them away to people for Christmas presents and stuff. That was a couple of years ago. And he felt that the music had a lot of the intensity of how music was used in battles. So that's why it's called Siegecraft.
Oh, okay.
I didn't feel that, but he did. And I think you can feel kind of the excitement that, is brewing in this one.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of play with the different colors and the different movements. You can almost see a little conflict in there with certain colors that come in on it.
Right. And you can feel that something is really blaring the way this energy comes in. And you can feel like something is opening up or responding. So then the next painting was done in the summer. It was done not this summer, but the summer before. And it was a moody day with, whirling kind of clouds and rain, etc. So I call it summer whirlwind. And I feel like I've caught the water and yet the vitality of the day and the music, of course.
Yes,
And
this
that
is
is again
very
what-
exciting. This is a very exciting thing because you can see a lot of movement in here, like you would in nature with the ocean and the sky. And it really seems to capture it with the combination of colors, the way they're juxtaposed on each other.
And I actually, just before the exhibit, I went and I touched it up a little bit. Sometimes when you only have an hour or so, or an hour and a half or less to do a painting, you don't have quite enough color where you want it. So you can go back. All I did is coloring book, a little extra yellow, a little extra pink, just to, bring it up to speed.
You make it seem so easy, but
No.
where were you when the page was blank?
Where was I? Well, this is after the page is written. This is
Yeah.
after the whole thing is there. It's
There
me
you go.
putting it, doing the little color book, upgrade. It's like touching up a photograph
Mhm.
or editing a piece of film or changing, doing a little sound mix on a recording.
Mhm.
So the next painting was another one, but this was done during the winter.
Ah.
And I said, I've been doing all these whirling things. I need more shapes. So I allow some of these forms to go into shapes. And then I did work on this afterwards to, again, bring out the tones more and, define the edges a little bit better on some of the shapes. But I really like this one because it has a lot of complexity of soft and shape and movement and rhythms.
So all of this.
But it was all done during a session with Eric at his house.
Oh, it was, okay. And
Yeah. Eric Zinman.
Eric Zimmerman.
Yes, we want to give him proper credit.
Yes, he's amazing and very inspiring too to listen to his music.
Yes, Eric's very talented. And ericzinman.com.
Okay, shall we move to the next?
This one I call Winter Mix. And it has all the elements of winter. It's cooler colors. It was done in like February and done at Eric's house, Studio 234 in Cambridge. And it's a small piece, 20 by 20, and it was an afternoon session in the winter. The light isn't as bright. You don't feel the flowers, the color, the sunshine. But you feel the kind of pull that ice and cold can give you without freezing you out.
Mm-hmm.
Because, of course, it's a heated house.
Yeah, but you see that hope of that light that comes in.
Yeah, and in
which is what we
February,
love,
and
yeah.
in February, the light starts to turn around and we have more light. Yeah, I have some January paintings, but I didn't bring them. I ran out of space. This is called Harp on a Harp Summer Afternoon. I was out on a porch with done a couple sessions with a harpist, a woman who's the daughter of a friend of mine, and we were out on her mother's porch, and it was really hot. It was like today. It's 90. It's 90 some degrees today. It was like that then. So we were out on her porch with lemonade and her harp and my paints, and that's why I call it Harp Summer Afternoon. And I did a second session also, but that's not in here.
I think that really demonstrates when you think of the sound of harp. I think that what happens when you choose those particular colors and that movement, you can hear that. You
And
can
then-
almost hear that when you look at the painting.
And she is a person of softer colors herself.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured that came into it. She was doing a medley of whatever occurred to her, but she does traditional harp melodies. They're not like abstract jazz. So you should feel a difference between this one
yes.
and some of the other paintings I did. Okay, so the next two paintings here on the wall were done, as I said earlier, sometimes I'm interested in cosmic influences. Well, the first day of spring is such a vital change. It's when the sun returns across the equator and is called an equinox. And this was done Spring Equinox 2012. I did another one for 2013, but it was sold. So this has been on exhibit in a couple of different places at Amazing Things Art Gallery in Framingham, and also in the Biennial Project, a few other places. And I really like it because it really, you feel the flavor of spring, the beginning of something. It isn't all well defined, but you feel the excitement of the change of season. So that was spring. This is fall. Same year, 2012. And it's the time when the sun moves back towards the southern equator, called the fall equinox. And you feel the fall colors, you feel the falling, the quality of stuff moving down, coming back. When we move into the equinox, our energies pull in for the winter, and it pulls in as far as it can, and then in the spring it comes back out again. So as we get to winter, that's the real deep pulling in. This is the beginning of pulling in. So we still have leaves, but they've turned their colors, and you feel that energy in this painting. Plus you feel the music, what was spontaneous and joyous with the crisp fall air.
And who was playing at the time?
This was another session done with Eric Zinman.
What instruments they was
He
playing?
played, I don't remember, he has electronic keyboard, and he plays acoustic piano, and he has a drum set. And can't remember what he used there.
Well, I see in this also, like, I see this sort of tunnel kind of vortex, as you were saying, coming in. This is what it does to me when I look at it, because it almost draws you into it when you look at some of the sections of it, and the way the color just pulls you in. You can feel that feeling.
So, you know, each one of these paintings tune people up to possibilities. Like spring brings your energy out. Fall kind of says, okay, we're going to gently release and focus in. And it's gentle, it's not harsh, it's not demanding, but it is moving. This one is, again, most of these paintings I've done with Eric Zinman, with the exception of some group paintings from the project Transcultural Exchange, and with the harp and the Tibetan bowl. So once more, Eric went to a European tour and was in France in spring, and April in Paris. He came back, and I started this painting, and I could just remember, I feel telepathy. I could feel all those spring colors in Paris. So I call it Eric in Paris. And you feel flowers, you feel the kind of joy of being unrestricted as things open up.
Now this one seems a little different than the others, because it seems like a more focal point there, and this is leading up to it. And it's quite amazing.
Yeah, well, and that other painting back there, Open Shapes, I mean, that was different also. So, you know, I have paintings, some of them aren't in the exhibit, but I experiment with allowing things to just take shape the way they want to.
I can see that.
And the following painting, this is Fall Garden. I asked Eric, can't we go out and do collecting? I used to do that with Lowell Davidson. We used to go out and do collecting. So we recorded the sound of nature, and I took photographs, and we played. We had a nice time. We had a lovely time down by the river. And then when we went back to the studio, I painted and he played. And I did 2 small pieces. These are 20 by 20, and a larger piece. The larger piece I worked on for a while, and it has a feeling of a sunflower or something, you know, magical in a garden. And I gave it to Eric and Paula as a wedding present. And Paula owns the other piece that goes along with this. So, this one is a favorite for most people in the exhibit. And I reworked it, I must say, for a while, because it was a piece that I really liked, and I wanted to bring it out more. I did a session with Stephanie Woods. She calls herself the Singing Bowl Lady, and she does concerts with 7 different Himalayan bowls. I call them Tibetan bowls. I play them myself.
Mhm.
So she came to my studio, and I did this painting.
Now that's amazing because Tibetan bowls are so healing and they bring in so much energy, but so much healing and relaxation and a tranquil thing. And this captures the beauty in the movement of what you hear.
And you feel this going into your organs. That's all. I feel
Mhm.
like these shapes and all suggest kind of movement of chi and movement into various departments of our bodies, because they're not geometric shapes. They're very organic shapes.
Mhm.
So I feel, and you feel the ear in this. At least I feel the ear.
Well, you
in
also
this.
play the
I played
play
the bowl
the
myself,
Tibetan bowls
but
too.
while I'm
so-
painting, I wasn't
No.
playing the bowl.
But you
and
had that experience of
Oh,
what
yeah.
that feels like.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing feeling when you're working with them, and it just captures it so beautifully. I'm
Yes.
really drawn into it.
Yeah.
It's a very nice meditative piece.
I call it Spring Sounds. And Eric returned from another one of his tours in June from Europe and playing in different festivals with other musicians. And when he came back, I did this, and I feel it has the kind of spontaneous feeling of being in an outdoor festival.
Mm.
So I call it Spring Sounds. And as you can see in a lot of my paintings, I really love yellow, because yellow allows the energy to kind of really radiate as light, as opening. It offers a lot of possibilities.
Mm-hmm. And I like the way that there's a lot of space there on the top to give you that feeling of movement and space that you feel at that time of year.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't feel a low pressure system. You feel a high pressure system. So this is the last piece that we will be discussing in the show, and it's been interesting. I know that I've mentioned seasons a lot and temperatures. I call this one summer heat, and I think you feel the intensity of the sun really drenching flowers and vegetables and other things. Eric has a garden outside of his house around, not very big, but around, and it was a July day, 2013.
Well, I want to thank you because it's really been very exciting going into the world of Linda in your mind. I've been there when you've had to decide what colors you want to pick and put it on the canvas, and this has been exciting and interesting time. Thank you.
I found that having to make decisions quickly is an asset as well as a challenge, because if I'm all by myself in my studio, I usually prefer silence. Just summing it up, when I'm by myself in my studio, I'm a different person. I sit there, I contemplate, I allow myself to soak what's going on and look for my intuitive internal response. I don't have time for that. But it's all there, because I've done all that in the past. I've done a lot of soaking. I've done a lot of absorbing. So when it comes out fast, it's not less thought. People think, well, there's very little thought in it. That's not true.
Oh, yes.
It's just the what you call it, the gold of the alchemist
Yes, yes.
after the dross has dropped off.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.